It is 7 o'clock. We do have a quorum, so I'll call the city council meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the invocation will be given by myself, and then the pledge of the American and Texas flags given by Councilman Guarina. Our gracious Almighty God, creator of all heaven, all earth, all being, and all existence, we pause a moment to give you thanks and give you glory and honor. For without you, we are nothing and we can do nothing. With you, we can do everything. We thank you for the blessings you give us each and every day. We thank you for this country and this land and this community in which we live, in which have the freedom to vote, to come out and voice our opinion, and don't feel like we're being oppressed every waking moment. We ask your special blessing tonight on those who are suffering, who are ill, those who have lost loved ones, those who have lost their jobs, and family members. We ask that you give us wisdom tonight, that we might make decisions that would be pleasing unto you. All this we ask in your most precious name. Amen.
Join me into the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
I'm getting better. I didn't even look this time. We have a couple of proclamations we'd like to present tonight. If I could ask Mike Farney to come forward. Mike, you come up with me here, sir. Good to see you, sir. You too. Thank you. Thank you. Whereas the City of Louisville is pleased to recognize the Cleaning for a Reason Foundation for its outstanding work to join citizens across the state in celebrating April 18th through the 24th, 2010 as National Cleaning for a Reason Week. And whereas based in Louisville, the Cleaning for a Reason Foundation is a nonprofit organization that offers free professional house cleaning services to improve the lives of women undergoing treatment for cancer. And whereas since its inception, this exemplary organization has helped more than 3,000 women receive the help they need to maintain a clean home at a time when their immune system is stressed and they are in particular need of a sanitary environment. The foundation has enlisted the aid of more than 650 maid services to carry out this mission, and whereas dedicated to providing the gift of a clean home to women undergoing cancer treatment, thereby allowing them to focus on their health. The Cleaning for a Reason Foundation continues to grow as it improves the lives of women stricken with this cruel disease. The foundation is truly deserving of recognition for its worthy efforts on behalf of those it serves. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of the City of Louisville, on the behalf of the City of Louisville City Council, proclaim the week of April 18th through 24th, 2010 as National Cleaning for a Reason Week, and hereby commend the Cleaning for a Reason Foundation for its dedication to helping women at a traumatic time in their lives and extend best wishes for a memorable and successful National Cleaning for a Reason Week, proclaimed this 19th day of April 2010. And I just want to thank you and your organization for all the wonderful work you've done for helping these people that go through the tragedy. I know most of us in our lives have been touched by someone that has had that cancer, and we certainly appreciate it. And at this time, I'd like to give you the honor to say a few words about you and your organization.
Okay. My name is Mike Forney. I'm the Executive Director of Cleaning for a Reason. This is a very special proclamation for us. As mentioned, this was founded here in Louisville. We are located here in Louisville. A small business owner who owns a maid service named Debbie Sardone had the idea that she would that she would have a policy with her company that if a woman with cancer approached her and was having trouble keeping her home clean and didn't have the ability to pay, that Debbie would do it for free. She took this idea nationwide. She started in May of 2006. We are now, as mentioned, over 650 maid services who are participating in our organization. We're in all 50 states, Washington, D.C., and in 7 Canadian provinces. These are typically small business owners who have less than 10 employees. But what they do is they demonstrate the American spirit, and that is they take what they do professionally, they give back the way they can to help their fellow citizens who are undergoing cancer treatment. And so this is very special that you're doing this for us, and we, the foundation, the board of directors, our employees, our volunteers, and the 650-plus maid services that are part of our foundation are sincerely grateful for this tonight. Thank you.
Liz. Once again, appreciate your help, all your service. And if I could I have Officer Charlene Collins please come up? Whereas 23 million Americans are victims of crime each year, and of those 5.2 million are victims of violent crime. And whereas a just society acknowledges crime's impact on individuals, families, and communities by ensuring that rights, resources, and services are available to help rebuild lives. And whereas victims' rights are a crucial component of the promise of justice for all and the foundation of our system of justice in America. And whereas observing victims' rights and treating victims with dignity and respect serves the public interest by engaging victims in this justice system, inspiring respect for public authorities, and promoting confidence in public safety. And whereas we must do better to ensure services are available for underserved segments of our population, including crime victims with disabilities, victims with mental illness, victims who are teenagers, victims who are elderly, victims in rural areas, and victims in communities of color. And whereas America recognizes that we make our homes, neighborhoods, and communities safer and stronger by serving victims of crime and ensuring justice for all. That now, therefore, I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of the City of Louisville, Texas, do hereby proclaim the week of April 18th to 24th, 2010 as Denton County Crime Victims' Rights Week. Further, I urge all citizens and institutions, public and private, to support the establishment and enforcement of victims' rights and services through participation in appropriate state and local activities during the designated week. Proclaim this 19th day of April 2010.
First, I want to thank the council for giving us this proclamation, and I would like to invite you all out to the Denton County Crime Victims Services Coalition. We are having a ceremony on Thursday night, April the 22nd, at 6:00 p.m. at the Denton County Courthouse in the main jury room to honor crime victims of Denton County. So we would like for everyone to come out for the ceremony. Again, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate all your work you do. Thank you very much. Even though I've lived here for almost 30 years now, it just continues to amaze me all the wonderful people that we have in our community that step up and help others who are in need on a regular basis. And it's an honor to honor them with their services that they do for our community. Item number 1 is a public hearing, consideration of an ordinance for a zone change request from light industrial to Old Town Mixed Use 2 on a .27 acre tract located at 527 South Keeley Avenue, further identified as tract 215 of the J.W. King Survey, abstract 696, as requested by Francisco Olivia, the property owner. The tract is located on the west side of Keeley Avenue, just north of Purnell Street, which is in the southern limit of the Old Town area. The property is currently zoned light industrial, as is the majority of property in this area. The applicant would like to rezone for the flexibility of uses and setbacks on the property. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 in favor of the zone change request at their April 6, 2010 meeting. The recommendation of staff is the City Council approve the proposed ordinance amending Louisville City Code, Chapter 17, and the comprehensive zoning ordinance as set forth in the caption above. I do have a card here by Betty Jo Price Olivia, and she is in support. Did you want to speak? Or are you just here for questions? I beg your pardon? Well, come up forward, ma'am, if you'd like to speak. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Yes, ma'am, if you would just give your name and address for the record, please.
Okay, it's Betty Jo Price Olivo,
Olivo, I'm sorry.
527 South Keeley Street, Avenue now. When we first bought the place, we bought it back in 87, something like that. But it was sold to us as residential, and we're trying to get zone change because my husband's retired and I'm disabled, and I'm trying to get disability in that. But so we're trying to get a reverse mortgage.
Okay. All right. We'll take it under consideration for you, okay? And if we have any questions, we'll feel free to ask them, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Move to close the public hearing.
Have a motion by Councilman Terry to close the public hearing.
Second.
A second by Councilman Green. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Tierney?
Move to approve the zone change.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Tierney to approve the zoning change request, and a second by Councilman Guerrero. Councilor?
Okay, this is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, that amends the zoning ordinance of the city, granting zoning changes on the 0.27-acre tract of land, fully and completely described in the attached Exhibit A, ordering a change in the use of said property from light industrial district zoning to Old Town Mixed Use 2 district zoning, correcting the official zoning map, preserving all other portions of the zoning ordinance, providing a clause relating to severability, determining that the public interests and general welfare demand a zoning change and amendment therein made, providing a penalty, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 is a public hearing, consideration of an ordinance amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 17, the zoning ordinance, Sections 1722.8.1 and 17-22.8.2 and 17-22.8.3, amending the mixed-use zoning district regulations. These sections, MU 30, MU 90, and MUSC, were adopted into the zoning ordinance in 2007. Since that time, there has been one zone change request for the mixed-use zoning. Even with this one case, staff has seen the need to make adjustments to the ordinance to address some of the issues that have arisen. In each of the 3 zoning districts, the developer would still have to comply with all the provisions in the general development ordinance unless a variance is granted by the City Council. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 in favor of the request at the March 23, 2010 meetings. I do not have any cards filled out for this item. Entertain a motion to close public hearing.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion to close public hearing by Councilman Durham, a second by Councilman Watts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Durham?
I don't have anything on this one. If nobody objects, I move to approve. Second.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Durham, a second by Councilman Thornhill. Councilor?
Okay, this is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 17, the comprehensive zoning ordinance by amending Section 17-22.8.1 through 17-22.8.3, regulating mixed-use developments, providing a repealer, providing a severability clause, providing for a penalty, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item E is the Citizens Forum. At this time, any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the council. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. We have a card filled out here by Mr. Matt McCormick.
Evening, Mayor and Council.
You'd state your name and record, please.
All righty. Matt McCormick, President, Louisville Area Chamber of Commerce, 551 North Valley Parkway, Louisville, Texas, 75067. I just wanted to, on behalf of the Chamber, to come up and give a public thank you to the city, especially our fire department, our police department. They helped put together our Public Safety Day for our Leadership Louisville class. It is constantly ranked as the highest day, always voted the best day of the year that our class goes through. They got to spend the first half of the day with the police department, and then the second half of the day with the fire department. At one point ended up out on the lake with the boat rescue firefighters and learning about what it really does take to keep our city and our citizens safe. And so we just wanted to take a minute, because they do spend the entire day with us, and how much we appreciate that, and let you all know how much we appreciate the city letting them do that with us, because it does mean a great deal to our class that goes through. And so thank y'all for the support. Thank you for the support of the program and the Chamber, and allowing us to have a great time with our fire department, our police department during that day.
Thank you very much, Matt, and thank you all for all that you do for the community. We also have a card filled out by Linda Ashbell. Maybe Ashel. Hope I'm not. If you would give me your name and address for the record, please.
Linda Asbell, 1311 Carnation Drive. First of all, I would like to say this is not a complaint about the police department. This is a request for some help. I have lived here for nearly 30 years. Most of that time I've lived on Carnation Drive, and I'm right next to the Austin Kent Ellis Park. And it has been a source of joy taking my daughter and my nieces and nephews down there, but progressively over the years it's become more and more troublesome. It started out with just typical scuffles on the basketball court with the boys, and I know testosterone causes things like that. And then it progressed. And it's gotten to a point now where I have had to call the police a number of times. At one point there was a brawl. There was probably 20 or 25 young men fighting. And this is four houses down from my house. 2 weeks ago, in the middle of the day on a Saturday, there was another brawl, and they used me as a shield between the two groups that were fighting. I was in my car, but I still certainly felt threatened. And I'm very concerned that in the middle of the day on a Saturday, I don't feel safe just walking around the block anymore. The police officers that responded were very nice. But they said that they're aware that there are problems there and that park is well known. And my request is, if that park is so well known, I would really like some patrols out there. Let's get this covered and pay more attention to that area. And I'd rather have it well known for basketball games and kids playing on the park than gang activity. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am, and we'll have somebody from staff get in touch with you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Tim Thompson.
Hello. Nervous, first time doing this stuff.
It's all right. If you just give us your name and address for the record.
Tim Thompson, 1366 Forest Glen Drive, Louisville, Texas. Sorry, I have COPD, so...
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
My concern today is about the ordinances that are made here. I have a house and we moved in a couple years ago. I bought it. I was informed by the code enforcement we had to have a trailer pad because we have a trailer. We couldn't have it on the grass. Great expense. I built one. I'm driving down the street the other day. Sorry. Up by the police station courthouse annex building, I think it's called, there's an electronic sign that's on the grass that announces events and stuff, and the grass underneath, it's all dead. When the mayor, Gene, the ex-mayor, lives right behind us in the alley. We had talked to him about it when it happened a couple years ago. I had to build the pad. He explained it was for aesthetics. Now I'm driving down the road and I see a bunch of dead grass under this electronic sign that's right there on Main Street. That's not very aesthetic. So I called the code enforcement, asked them about it. They said they're exempt from these kind of things, so I'm kind of concerned that the citizens get ordinances put on them to restrict their private property activities and have to go through expense to change things, but yet the city is exempt from that, and I don't see why our taxpayer money is used to restrict our activities on our own property, but yet in the public everything's exempt, and it doesn't seem right, and there's a big dead spot of grass up there, and not to mention it's not too safe. If somebody loses control of their car and goes over the curb, they're going to hit a sign that's electronic, and I don't know if it's electrical powered. It might be, maybe it's battery. But I would like to have something done about if we have, I know they're not laws, but what's the word, ordinances placed against us, then they should be followed by everyone, because you're restricting our activity. And the other day, I'm filling my jet ski because I can't do it anymore. I got called from the code enforcement again saying you can't have a vehicle in the parking lot with the for sale sign on it. But yet the city's allowed to do, they say that it's exempt because it's public property. But in fact, our money is what purchased that property for the city, which means it belongs to us, actually, as we pay your salaries. And I think that this should be addressed. If there's ordinances made for people, that means all people are under that ordinance, not just a select few. It's hard for people to agree with the law and abide by it when others are allowed to scapegoat it. I'm not trying to cause trouble or nothing, but it's just an issue that's in our neighborhood, discussions and, stuff like that. So I do thank you for your time and hearing me. I know it's a minor problem in today's world, but fairness is fairness.
Right. We take them all under concern. We appreciate your coming forward, sir.
Okay.
And somebody from staff will contact you.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Item F is the consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. For a citizen to request removal of an item, a speaker card must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. Only thing I have is Councilman Tierney asks that we pull item number 7. Entertain a motion to approve consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda with the exception for item number 7.
Second.
We have a motion to approve consent agenda except item number 7 by Councilman Tierney, a second by Councilman Watts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7 is approval of a resolution relating to providing proper and adequate funding for the Texas Department of Transportation to perform maintenance of right-of-ways and infrastructure of property owned by the state highway system, which was requested by Councilman Tierney. In recent years, the Texas Department of Transportation maintenance of state highways and I-35E appears to have deteriorated. Lack of maintenance to the roadways has increased traffic safety concerns, as well as the negative appearance that the roadways exhibit. The prepared resolution is directed toward the Texas Legislature, the Texas Transportation Commission, and the regional and local offices of TxDOT. Recommendation of staff is the City Council approve the resolution as set forth in the above caption. Councilman Tierney?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to staff for having this put on the agenda. The reasoning behind this is pretty much basically the lack of any attention given to certain matters by TxDOT within the city of Louisville. Back last fall, I received a number of complaints from residents as far as trash and litter in the state's right-of-ways, the highway right-of-ways, specifically on I-35. And in working with staff and trying to get that cleaned up, we were just getting absolutely nowhere for a long time. And it was just real frustrating in the fact that it was just looking absolutely horrible, and our hands are pretty much tied because they own the property and we can't do anything about it. And it's not right for us to spend our taxpayer dollars to go out and send our crews out there to get it cleaned up. One of the things, of course, if somebody with private property were to do something like that and not maintain their property, we as the city, we have a hammer. We can go after them, issue citations. It's their responsibility to maintain their property. So it's frustrating when you're dealing with the state of Texas and they're not maintaining their property. Ideally, what I would like to do is go after the state, treat them like any other property owner, and issue them citations and tickets and move forward to get them to act and clean up the property. And this isn't just related to trash on the side of the highway. This has a lot to do with specific maintenance issues, quality of the streets that they own and that they're responsible for repairing. We have just had a very difficult time at the city level in getting responses from the state and getting them to improve certain things that need to be improved upon. City attorney didn't like the idea about issuing them citations. Pretty much, they're exempt.
They're on the sovereign, yes.
Yeah, so imagine that. After the speaker we just heard. So, in working with the city manager, we sat down and talked and said, all right, what's the plan of attack? What can we do? What are the possibilities? And putting together a resolution, and hopefully this will get into the right hands at the state level and maybe get some increased funding so they can maintain their property, keep it clean like we expect everybody else to do.
You want to make a motion?
Having said that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Tierney. Second by Councilman Watts.
A couple of comments, Mayor. This isn't just happening in Louisville. This is all over the state. If you've listened to some things TxDOT's saying, there is no money after 2012 for maintenance of the highways. And I'm talking about the surface and the roadway, the right-of-ways. So if we think it's bad now, it's going to get worse. There's no money for roads that isn't funded already, and the maintenance will go away. And it is at the legislature, not at TxDOT itself, because there is no money being appropriated for this. We're all between a rock and a hard place, but it is at the legislature right now. Thank you, Mayor.
So, again, like we talked about in the workshop, we as a city, we got tight budget times too. And it's our responsibility to set the budget. It's our responsibility
Just trying to explain what's going on. It's going to get worse.
And I completely understand your point. It's it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
So I guess pretty soon it's going to be looking like we're driving through Tijuana.
Possibly.
But it does state in there that this is directed at the Texas Legislature and the Texas Transportation Commission as well as TxDOT. So. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10 is consideration of a variance to the Louisville City Code, Article 8, Section 2-201, fee schedule for the Leela special event on April 24, 2010, as requested on behalf of the Louisville Lake Environmental Learning Association. Leela. Leela is proposing an event known as Celebrate Earth Day 2010, and it is a general public awareness event. Leela is requesting a variance to not pay special event and service fees as required by the Louisville City Code. The event will be a one-day event on April 24th, 2010, and is held in conjunction with the Keep Louisville Beautiful cleanup and Parks and Recreation Services Dam Run. Staff has determined that the event meets all the criteria for a special event permit. The total of the fee waiver, including fire department services, is $1,223.12. The recommendation is that City Council approve the request to waive all special event fees as set forth in the caption above. Just one thing I want to note on that is that this is in conjunction with our annual Keep Louisville Beautiful function that we have every year. It's been being held at Louisville High School. However, they are moving it out this year to the Leela property to do it in conjunction with Celebrate Earth Day and try to make people aware of the beautiful facility that we have out there at Leela. Councilman Thornhill?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve this item.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Thornhill to approve, a second by Councilman Tierney. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11 is consideration of a variance to Louisville City Code, Article 8, Section 2-201 fee schedule for Defenders of Freedom to waive fees for the Vista Ridge Amphitheater. Defenders of Freedom has requested the City Council to consider waiving fees for the Ride for Wounded Warriors to be held at the Vista Ridge Amphitheater, tentatively scheduled for May 22, 2010. Recommendation is that the City Council consider the request to waive rental and staffing fees for the Vista Ridge Amphitheater for the Ride for Wounded Warriors and require facility deposit and appropriate insurance. Councilman Guerrero?
If no one has any
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I had a card here filled out. Almost missed it. Donna Cranston, did you want to speak, ma'am? I apologize. If you would leave your name and address for the record, please.
It's Donna Cranston, 706 Stratford Lane in Coppell, Texas. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about Defenders of Freedom. I started it in November of 2004 as a result of being out at the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport every day to greet our troops as they come home for 2-week R&R, finding many of them who weren't getting care packages, and so I kept adopting them. By the time I had about 35, I decided to get some help, ended up starting Defenders of Freedom, and had such a great response with that we've also branched into helping our wounded. We're now working with the U.S. Army's Wounded Warrior Battalion and AW2s at different locations around the country. So this ride that we're doing on May 22nd will be a biker ride, and all 100% of the proceeds from that will go to help wounded warriors around the country. And any bit that we can get to save on any fees or costs that we have involved, it will help in many little ways. So I thank you for any consideration that you can give us for this.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Councilman Guerrero?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the waive of the rental and staffing fees for the Vista Ridge Amphitheater and any other fees that they may have. And I understand that they're going to be paying a deposit, but of course that gets refunded to them too. So that's my motion.
So in your motion, you're requesting that
we waive the fees for the amphitheater and any other fees associated to the event they're having there.
Okay, that's why I'm asking for clarification. I'm asking for clarification. Is your motion asking that you also waive their deposit and appropriate insurance?
No, I think we need to have that
Okay.
for sure. Thank you.
Okay, so
But don't get
waive
that
the
back.
2 fees as staff requested, or as staff recommended in the caption. Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Guerrero, second by Councilman Durham. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Item number 12 is consideration of a variance to Louisville City Code, Article 5, special events for the Parker House located at 2301 North Stemmon Freeway, as requested by Mark East of DFW Fight Nights. Mark East, owner of DFW Fright Nights, claiming a hardship, is requesting that the Parker House haunted house located at 2301 North Stemmons Freeway remain on site as constructed with all equipment associated with the event. Mr. East is also requesting that the event take place from September 24, 2010 through August 31, 2010. After the event is over, Mr. East will return the property to the original condition by December 1, 2010. Mr. East further agrees to add an additional 60 feet of 8-foot solid wood fence on the northwest side of the property to screen the event from the adjacent neighborhood. Recommendation is that the City Council consider the request to allow the event to be held from September 24, 2010 to October 31, 2010, and to allow the event materials and equipment to remain on the property until December 1, 2010. At this time, we're going to convene into executive session to consult with our legal department. We'll reconvene back into regular session. On item 12, I'm going to make a recommendation to council that we, because of some extenuating circumstances, we table this item until we get some more clarification and information from staff. And I know a lot of you have filled out cards in support of and some against, and some for and some against. And tonight, if we do in fact table this item, I'm going to ask you not to speak tonight because we're trying to get some more information from our city staff before we make any kind of a decision on this item. And so with that time, at that time when it is put back on the agenda, you'll be notified and you can come back and speak at that time. So with that, council, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we table this item till, I believe we discussed, what, mid-June?
Second week meeting in June.
Second meeting in June?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Thornhill to table the item to the second meeting in June, and we have a second by Councilman Durham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Once again, I do want to thank you for coming out and for your attention to this, but we have to make sure we check all the facts and get all the information staff that's available to us out there before we make any kind of a decision on an issue like this. So once again, we appreciate it, and you can see the second meeting in June. It will be back on the council at that time. Thank you very much. Okay. Item number 13, consideration of a variance to the Louisville City Code, Section 11-14, prohibited signs regarding an off-premise sign to be located on the frontage road of State Highway 121 at the intersection of Cookie Lane, just north of FM 544, as requested by Sunridge Management Group on behalf of Amarnath at 544 Active Senior Living Community. A 96 square foot off-premise sign is being proposed at Highway 121 in Cookie Lane to be located approximately just north of FM 544. The sign is 12 feet in height and will be located approximately 20 feet back from the curb. Staff has concerns over the amount of signage in the area already. The recommendation of staff is that the City Council deny the request variance to set forth in the caption above. City Manager, if you could have somebody from staff address this issue. Yeah.
Need the overhead, Tim. Power's on.
It's moving.
Apologize for the technical issue here. Maybe I'll just hold them up. Okay, this property is located actually on Cookie Lane at Windhaven Parkway. The property is quite a distance from 121. There were some issues in regards to the visibility. Still not getting a picture. Okay, I'll continue. There currently at this location, there is a off-premise real estate sign which was set up when this building permit was issued in 2008. The sign was primarily because there was no indication as to where the property was located for construction purposes, and then also they did a pre-leasing program with the construction trailer there, trying to get ahead of the curve. The CO was issued on this property in March of 2009, and technically the sign that you have pictures of in the current location should have been removed 14 days after the CO was issued. The Amaranth, that would help. Okay, thank you. Okay, so there's the location, and give you a little better indication of where it's located. Windhaven Parkway down here, and then off Cookie Lane off of 121. The current sign is located where this yellow indicator is. This is what the current sign that they're wanting to increase the size of. They're wanting to increase the size of the sign to make it 8 feet tall, or 8 feet wide and 12 feet in height. So it'd be similar to what it shows there. If you recall, they came to council with a banner that they had constructed, and we notified them that it was illegal and that they did not realize that they had done that, and they came to council for a variance, and that was denied. And if I show the current location, it's actually showing the distance, and it's not a really good picture, but it still has the banner sign on the building. Concern of staff was that at the council meeting where we were looking at Lakeside 21 and Bella Madera's signage on the other side of the highway, that there were a number of signs there, and council voiced concern that we may be getting too many signs in the area. The Lakeside 121 sign was given, each sign was given 2 years. The Lakeside 121 was to expire in October of this year, and the Bella Madera was going to expire in January of next year. Now, consequently, since the windstorm, the Lakeside 121 sign was blown down, and the Bella Madera sign survived, and they are claiming that they're taking advantage of that because they've noticed with the signage that they've had a huge increase in their leasing. The information we got from Amaranth is that they're currently at 30%. We told them that, these signs come to the counter pretty much all the time. We've had these requests of a number of off-premise signs, and that we typically tell them at the counter that, those are not allowed and you have to apply for a variance, and they go without it. We also advise them that typically we report to council that the off-premise signs should be denied. They're trying to keep the signage down, and then it's up to the council. Even at that, they requested that they bring this forward to you and speak to you about it.
Okay.
I got a question for Cleve, real quick. How big is the sign they got out there today, that one that you showed us? The existing sign?
I believe it's 8 feet by 4 feet.
8 by 4?
Correct.
And these other two signs that are already out there, where are they? That's 8 by 4?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're going 8 by 4 to 8 by 12, what they're proposing.
Yeah, and I think what they were trying to do was mirror what's across the street and what the apartment complex.
Where are those other two signs? Are they directly across the street?
They're on the other side of Highway 121. So
Right, but they're right across, or are they a mile or two down the road from them?
No, let me, I've got a picture here.
I was trying to get it where in relation to the sign.
They're off of Leora Lane.
Right there.
This is what we presented to council the last time we came to
Yeah,
talk
that's
to
what I
you.
was looking for.
And you can see that on that side of the street, there's Pier 121's billboard at the railroad tracks, and then there's a stream sign, Speaker Real Estate, Pier 121, Wall Homes, Baruch Properties, and it just continues on. And then you also have the two signs for Bella Madera and 121. On this side of the street, down here in the corner, it doesn't show it, but that's where the current sign is. And there's also two large billboards close to the railroad tracks. So there is quite a bit of signage in that location.
And all those signs are in compliance, though? Except for these two?
Except for the one that's currently says Amaranth Leasing, all of them have either been approved by council or are allowed by our ordinance.
Thank you, Cleve.
I think I missed something. When does this one, the current one, due to expire? We gave them 2 years, is that right?
Yes. You mean, like, you're talking about Lakeside 121 and Bella Madera?
No, you mentioned that. I caught that. This Amaranth.
Amaranth does not. This particular sign was required to be taken down 14 days after their certificate of occupancy was issued.
Okay, that was based upon what we had said.
Correct. March of 2009.
And how long? That was March of when?
2009.
The sign should have already been taken down, we just
Correct.
caught it.
Correct.
So it's already an illegal sign.
Correct. And the leasing agent was advised of that. Again, went back and looked at it and what was allowed when they started the pre-leasing and the construction traffic. And from what my recollection is this sign from the prior marketing group that was working for Amaranth was that they actually refaced it after the construction. And it, quite frankly, was missed.
So they opened and started operating and leasing in March of 2009?
The sign was originally set up when they broke ground because part of Windhaven Parkway and Cookie Lane, none of that connection was really complete. So the only construction traffic they had was off of 121, so they needed a construction directional. And they also had an off-premise real estate sign, which they could have for leasing purposes until the CO was given. So the sign was legal up until the time that they had the CO, 14 days after.
Yeah.
Any other questions, staff? This time? Thank you, thank you, sir. I do have a card filled out by Lisa Prude with Sunridge Management. If you would state your name and address for the record, please.
Lisa Prude is 727 Hawk Lane in Capel. And I'm here to let you know that our company, Sunridge Management, came on board in August of 2009. And when we got there was a banner up on the back of the building. And since that banner has been removed, we were told that it had to be removed, it was November 4th of 2009. We've seen a significant drop in traffic. Now, this property, from what I understand and was told by the owner, they didn't do any pre-leasing from construction. So that sign was up there as a directional, but they said they weren't allowed, construction would let them try to lease apartments until March of 2009. So we came on board in August of 2009, and we're still only 33% leased right now. It's not a conventional community. It's not a family community. It's for 55 and older active seniors. And my experience in the past has been within 3 to 6 months, normal apartments that just allow any age, you can lease up. From what I understand, an apartment community that's 55 and older takes 2 to 3 years to lease up. This community, this has been a year now, a year and a month, and it's only 33% leased with all the efforts we've had in magazines galore, websites. The banner seemed to be our biggest pull, but when we were told in November we had to remove it, we did so and saw a big drop in our traffic. So what we're asking is to please let us have what they had a mile down the street, down or across 121 at Bella Madera. The reason for the height is because you can see from the picture, even our sign points to it, but all you can see is the top of the building. You really can't even see what it is. It's at a dead-end street where there's a railroad track. It's across from a school. We're working really close with the school. The new manager, Christine Harris, has just come on board this last month and started getting active with the Louisville Chamber of Commerce. She's been to 1 or 2 meetings. And we're wanting to be more and more involved with the community. We're offering all of our public areas to the schools, to the Boy Scouts, to anybody who wants to come on down, and we've got a place for you to meet, because we're trying to get the word of mouth out through Castle Hills Neighborhood Associations. We're trying really, really hard to do everything that we can to direct people that direction, but it's a dead-end street. And until that street goes through on the other side of the railroad tracks, we're up there just, waving our hands as much as we can. And I didn't know that the sign was illegal that's on the corner there now, but the owner said it's the only sign that's there. And he said that we were certainly welcome to use that space, and unless he gave us 30 days notice to get rid of it. So if we could, please, have 2 years. Hopefully it won't take 2 years to get it leased up, but it's not like when I was 20 or 30 or 40 years old and could just pick up and move with a drop of a hat. Nobody wants to move until they can sell their house, and it takes months and months to get these people to come in, and the word of mouth is getting much better, but we really, really need that visibility from 121 on both sides to be up high enough that says senior living, and if it points that direction, at least they can see the top of the building and know that it's right there, because there's no drive-by traffic. You can see from the, well, y'all know where it is. Anyway, so we're asking you to please reconsider and please give us an opportunity to get the success of that community. Really depends on the visibility, and there's no visibility without a banner or something saying what that is. People don't know what it is. So at least senior living would get them pointed in the right direction, and with our manager getting more and more involved with city council and the community at large, and the Chamber of Commerce, we hope to lease it up as quickly as possible, but it may be 2 years before we get it leased up. I mean, 1 year later, it's 33% leased. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, I think I know my stance on excessive signage. I've always had been an opponent of a lot of extra signage, and as we saw with the map that he put up, the number of signs in that particular area, is the reason staff does have a concern with the over amount of signage in that area. Property owners, when they buy pieces of property, business owners, when they buy pieces of property, they know where they're located. They know what their exposure is to visibility. That's the reason property that's out on a frontage road is more expensive, because you do have that visibility. When a business owner chooses to buy or open a business that's back off of a road, they have to be adapted to that. In my opinion, they need to be able to adapt to that, because that's where they chose to do it. I know we've done it some in the past. I haven't been a proponent of it because of the fact that I think that we can end up, everybody, Joe's Bar and Grill or XYZ printing company could also want to advertise all up and down I-35, but they might be over on Fox and Bel Air. And so they want to advertise out there, and that's where I think it gets becomes a concern with that. So that's my stance on it. Councilman Watts?
I mean, you can see from the presentation, it is fairly cluttered out there already. The sign that's currently up is not in compliance. It was mentioned that on average it takes 2 to 3 years for a senior living facility to fill up. You've been there a year and you're 33%, which to me sounds like you're right on schedule. If it takes 2 to 3 years to fill up and you got 33% after a year, then I don't see that the sign on the highway or the lack thereof being the determining factor on whether or not the place is a success. If on average it's 3 years and you've been there a year and you got a third, then it sounds to me like it's typical. I think there are other factors here, and I understand your concern that you're only 33% leased, and you mentioned, nobody wants to move from one place till they sell another. It's a bad time to be selling a house right now. Unless you've been asleep, for the last couple of years, it's a pretty tough economy, and there are lots of businesses experiencing very similar troubles to what you are. I just don't see that increasing a sign that's already not in compliance is going to have that much of a difference here. Those are my thoughts. If anybody else has any.
Thank you, Mayor. I know that looking in the background material, the owner of the property has given the apartment complex permission to put up a sign, and the owner of that property was charging, I'm assuming, not charging for the signs. It's an agreement between you and the owner that you can put a sign there? Okay. Okay. Yeah, no money changed hands. Thank you for clarifying that. I was just wondering, and thank you for answering that. Personally, I don't have a problem with granting this variance. I'm not going to be for denying it, but I do want to limit it to 2 years. And I'm also kind of in agreement with Mr. Watts that does a sign make all that much difference? I'm not in that line of work. You are. And but since you got agreement, and out there right now it could be a monstrosity of a building. So whatever we can do to help you lease those properties, I am for, within reason. And I know there are a lot of signs out there, but empty fields could be whatever growing out there. And it might be an eyesore to some people, but to you that means a way to make money for your business. And I don't see it as a hurt to this city, so I'm not going to be for denying it. I'll be for giving you that variance.
Councilman Durham?
I'm in favor of the variance, and I would make the time limitation. I was thinking more like 18 months, but 2 years would be fine with me. But that the existing sign that's there be taken off the property. That's all.
Councilman Tierney?
I agree with you, Mayor, in the fact that we have, the sign litter is getting pretty bad. And a few years ago, we did a lot to tighten up on the sign ordinance to prevent a lot of the sign litter that's happening throughout the city, and I think a lot of that, the new ordinance has done well for us. And it is starting to, in that area, as we saw on the screen, it is starting to get a little bit, probably a little bit out of control. And I also agree with you in the fact that, though I feel bad for this particular property, there's a lot of businesses out there that are having a hard time right now. And if all those businesses came into us and started asking for off-premise signage, we would be putting signs up all over the city. I'm sure any number of business owners would want to have more signage and additional signage in the city, and it's just, we just can't approve them all. But having said that, I would like that the sign is there. One thing I don't like that the sign is still there, and it is an illegal sign right now. But I am in favor of business and business staying here, and that's obviously the tricky line that we're trying to walk. So I do want to see that property do well, and I would be in favor of this sign. I would be tempted, especially for the fact that it is an illegal sign now, trimming that timeline down a little bit even further. I think if we were to approve this sign at this size, I think 1 year should be plenty. And by that time, the other signs across the street will be expiring. They'll be having to pull some of their signs up. There is one sign over there that I am in favor of keeping, and that's, I think it was the marina, when we just completely cut out, when they did that, the new developments back there, they completely cut off the main road to get to them. So some of those businesses back in the marina area, right by the railroad track, they really need some signage. They were existing prior to some of that work that happened. A lot of these other businesses that have these temporary signs for 2 years, They're new businesses. They knew exactly what they were up against. So having said that, I would be in favor, but I would like to keep it down to 1 year.
Councilman Thornhill?
Thank you, Mayor. I thought about this, and I'm still trying to justify how we can allow certain businesses to have variances and then tell other businesses they can't. It just doesn't seem fair to me. I can understand staff's concern about signage out there. I have a concern too, but then I can't very well tell the apartment people or marina people, you can have variances, but these people, you can't have the variances. To me, it's just not playing the same rules. And second, I think we, as a city, need, especially in these economic times that we're faced with, to try to help our businesses survive. And I'm okay with the variance, but I'd like to see it limited also down from 2 years. So I'll be supporting the variance tonight.
I have a question. If we do the 1 year that Councilman Tierney spoke about, will that be roughly on the same timeline that the other signs out there are supposed to be coming down?
One is supposed to come down in October of this year, I believe, and Cleveland's the other one supposed to come down January of 11. Okay, so you'd be going to May of 11, roughly.
So it's it's ballpark.
Ballpark. Certainly closer to 2 years.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the sign variance for the proposed sign and limit it to 1 year from now.
I have a motion by Councilman Tierney to approve the proposed sign with a maximum limit of 1 year from what day?
Today.
From 1 year from today. We have a second by Councilman Guerrero. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Look at that on the Wall Homes.
I'm sorry?
Wall Homes is quit building and they filed bankruptcy. There was some signs on the other side that was mentioned. So I think they're gone. That was on the other side of the highway.
Okay, item number 14, consideration of a variance to Louisville City Code, Section 11-10, permissible signs regarding a wall sign located at 498 East South State Highway 121 as requested by National Indoor Storage and Rentals Sign. National Indoor Storage is requesting to alter the storefront signage at their business located at 498 East State Highway 121. They're requesting to erect a new wall sign that will exceed City of Louisville sign ordinance provisions. They are requesting a variance to erect an additional wall sign of 51 square feet for a total of 354.07 square feet of wall signs. The ordinance only allows a maximum of 318.75 square feet of wall signage for this elevation. This is an average of 35.32 square feet. Recommendation is that the City Council consider the request for variance as set forth in the caption above. Councilman Guerrero?
If no one has any comments on it, there's one thing I do want to ask about that sign before I make a recommendation. 35.32 square feet is what we're going over? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exceeding.
Exceeding, and it's just for that big sign that's in the middle on the wall there, right?
I do need to let you know, I do have a card here. I'm sorry I missed it. It's from Laura Patry, and she is here just available to answer any questions. So if you have any questions on that, you can. I'm sorry? You're right. Beg your pardon. Thank you, sir. But you didn't fill out a card, sir. I'm sorry. You did. I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. I picked up the wrong card. Hal Kendrick. Yes, sir. Would you like to speak, or were you here for questions? I'm here for questions. All right. Thank you, sir. I apologize.
No problem.
Okay, go ahead, Councilman Green. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you, Mayor. According to the analysis, due to the size of the building and that it's 212 feet away from the highway, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the variance as set forth in the caption.
Second.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'm of the opinion we're pretty close, 35.32 square feet. we're going to allow them 318 square feet. I would expect that they should be able to get within 318 feet.
You're talking about making the sign smaller? Just so that-
Well, they're looking to increase that middle sign, right? Yeah, falling within the limits.
So you want to shrink it to fall into the limits?
No, they're looking to increase it.
Yeah, we're looking at
10%.
10% there.
So are you saying you're not in favor of that? Okay, so you're saying you're not in favor of them increase. Did you think they could do it within the limits stipulated by the ordinance?
I would like to ask a question.
Well, let me let the other council speak first, and we'll go back.
Sorry, Mayor.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry, Mayor.
All right, is that all you had, Council?
Yes, sir.
Councilman Thornhill?
I have nothing, Mayor. I think we have a motion and a second.
Right, but we're having discussion. Councilman Weiss, did you have anything?
I wouldn't mind hearing from the property owner about this 35 feet, just how important it is.
Okay. Sir, would you like to speak? Now there's some questions. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
The history of this issue is this.
I'm sorry. If you could take your name.
Al Kendrick with National Indoor Storage. The address is 498 East Highway 121, Louisville, Texas.
Thank you.
The history is this. We've developed a new concept in indoor storage for RVs and boats. We developed this 150,000 square foot brand new facility on State Highway 121. If you've been by the building, I think you'll all agree it's a handsome building and was a definitive upgrade to the area. Our initial business plan was to only store RVs and boats. The business plan after the building was completed, expanded, and we're in 3 lines of businesses now: storage, service, meaning repair, and sales, all in one building. So in that we've expanded the lines of businesses, our signage as currently exists on the building is incomplete and inadequate, doesn't state everything that we do. And so we're not interested in spending money on signage that we don't need. In the words indoor storage, we're proposed to be placed on the building so that people know definitively that we do store RVs indoors, which is a unique offering. The pole sign on the front of the building, which currently states National Indoor Storage, we're going through a name change based upon the hopeful approval of the council tonight. The business will be called National Indoor RV Centers. That'll be the pole sign on the front, indicating it's a hub of activity for RVs. Then the signage on the building, we already have repair and service on the building. We have sales on the building. We'd just like to replace the words indoor storage that's currently on the pole sign, since we're replacing our new name, and put those words on the building. It's an 11% variance. And given the area, the building has been a dramatic upgrade, and I appreciate the council's consideration of the request.
Jimmy?
Yeah, I think I see your point is that you're adding what you do onto the building.
Correct.
And so that's where the increased square foot comes from, adding words.
That's correct.
On the building. Yeah, that's what
And the words that we're wanting to add are indoor storage. Storage alone doesn't adequately tell the story, because most people think of RV storage as being out back behind a fence or in a gravel lot. Our unique offering is indoor storage. So that's why we're seeking for both words to be on the building: indoor storage. Storage doesn't tell the story. Indoor alone doesn't tell the story.
Well,
The name used to be called National Indoor Storage. I guess they're changing that name.
Do you have anything else?
No, that's what I want.
Okay. Councilor, do you have something else?
just wanted to say, I see what you're talking about. It wouldn't make any sense to make that one set of words smaller than the others as they go across the top.
Correct.
I've made the motion, and we had a second. Mayor?
Are you through now?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 15 is consideration request for city in-kind support for the American Cancer Society Relay for Life event located at the Kilo LHS North Campus, 1301 Summit Avenue, as requested by Laura Petrie. Events Chair, Southeast Denton County Relay for Life. The 2010 Southeast Denton County Relay for Life event will be held from Friday, May 14, 2010 at 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Saturday, May 15, 2010. Notice I did say 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. A request is being made to provide city in-kind support of 10 tents and staff time to set up and take down tents related to the event, and B, to waive any associated fees for the event, including fees for personnel to put up and take down tents. City Council approved the request for the event last year. The recommendation is that City Council consider the request for in-kind support for the American Cancer Society Relay for Life event as set forth in the above caption. And now I do have the card filled out by Laura Petrie, who is here to answer any questions if needed. So, Council, did you have any questions of Ms. Petrie?
I don't have any questions, Mayor. It's a great event, and I support it 100%. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Tierney and a second by Councilman Watts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, ma'am. Item 16. Did I skip?
Thank you, good.
That's it.
Okay. Item 16, consideration of naming I-35E Liberty Freeway. The City of Farmers Branch recently passed a resolution attaching Liberty Freeway name to I-35 within their corporate limits. It is technically a nickname because the official addressing along the corridor was not changed. There are various approaches to naming state highways depending on the purpose and intent, ranging from the state official naming to local official naming to nicknaming. I-35 in Louisville currently does not have an official local designation. However, it has numerous other names that are recognized by addressing authorities such as the city, the post office, Central Appraisal District, and DENCO 911. In addition, the state of Texas currently recognizes all of I-35 from north to south as the Purple Heart Trail. Also, the city has recently commenced work on a master plan for I-35 to address a wide spectrum of issues that will impact the corridor for many years into the future, including aesthetics, imagery, redevelopment, standards, infrastructure, design, etc. Naming of the corridor, perhaps even unofficially, would be within the scope of issues for this committee to consider. Recommendation of staff is that the council include naming options in the scope of issues to be considered by the I-35 Corridor Plan Steering Committee and not take any further action at this time. I do have a card filled out by Johnny Buin. Johnny, you want to come forward, sir?
Thank you, Your Honor, Councilman. I'm just going over the agenda that Councilman gave me from Farmers Branch. They're talking about designating this as honoring of the veterans. Well, liberty is possible, freedom possible, but I noticed on the agenda that they had, from Farmers Branch, they had honoring the men and women of our armed forces. To me, the armed forces is a lot better if you want to honor the veterans. Armed forces is a lot better than having a liberty or freedom, because that's so much of a terminology. But armed forces, not but one terminology. Armed forces, period. And the men and women that served our country to give us the freedom that we have, I think they should be designated as the free ones. And as far as 35 being changed, 35 is automatically the Purple Heart Trail all the way from Red River to Laredo. And the reason there's not more signs designating it is the expenses. I have a Purple Heart friend here that was working with that, and I think he's scheduled to talk, and he'll let you know about the expenses of what it is. But if you're wanting to honor the military, honor the servicemen and women, I think armed forces would be more proper than liberty or freedom. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Johnny, and thank you for all the service to the country you've done over the years. Thank you, sir. And I do have a card filled out by Gilbert Brown.
Gilbert Brown, 1221 Quaker Lane, Louisville, Texas. I hate following Johnny Bullen. Anytime talking about anything of our military or veterans. I came here kind of with the same sentiments that Johnny had. If you're going to name something after a veteran, let's be a little bit more specific. A Veterans Highway or something like that would be fine. As Johnny said, I-35 ENW is Purple Heart Highway or Purple Heart Trail. The Military Order of the Purple Heart, Department of Texas worked long and hard to get that done to the legislature, come up with our own funds to pay for the signage. And we're also required to keep a slush fund, so to speak, to maintain those signs. Those are ours to maintain to perpetuality. I did talk to Councilman Garina just before the meeting. He inferred that the signage would be more to the feeder roads and not necessarily right on the right-of-way. I think the naming with a different name and the signage designated to be along the feeder roads more than on 35 would be something totally acceptable. And in that case, I wouldn't have a problem with this. Other than that, I think it's got a pretty good name now with Purple Heart Trail. I'd like to keep it as much as we can just there. I wish we could afford more signs to put up and down the road, but with the cost of the signs, it's pretty prohibitive, and we have one sign every 100 miles, as you said, all the way from Gainesville to Laredo.
Right, and I agree with you, and I'd rather spend that money for the side roads and the signage on those as a Purple Heart Trail instead of some other name.
If we could do that, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your help. Wait a minute, sir. We had a question.
What was the cost of one of those signs?
He told you I knew all about that, and that's been about 3 years ago. But I want to say it was somewhere around $500 to $600 per sign. And I'm not sure that included the installation. Then again, we have to have a fund set aside with TxDOT to maintain those signs. If somebody shoots a sign down or tears it down, or the Purple Heart symbol, metal, peels off that, we're required to replace that, or they can take it down.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Did also have a card from Lieutenant Colonel Al Talese, who is also retired, and he and Frank Pillsbury and Debbie Wright, who are all heading up a thing called Tournament of Heroes, which is an honor of our veterans of service. They will be having that out of Pier 121 in July, June or July, I forget exactly when it is. They were the same nature as these past two gentlemen. They just said that they would much prefer us spend our resources and time and efforts in trying to do something that truly honors the veterans by naming it something like Veterans or something like Purple Heart Trail, especially with it already being named that currently by the state, that we could work with the state, like Councilman Durham was talking about. What does it cost? Maybe we work with the state on that. Mayor Carey had also called. He had planned to be here tonight, called me when we were workshop session, and apologized for not being able to be here. He took sick this afternoon. He said he didn't know if it's something he ate at lunch or what, but I told him he was just trying to get out. I had to buy Johnny a cup of coffee, but he said he apologized, but he did want me to express his concern about doing it also, that he would much rather spend our time and resources towards the Purple Heart Trail instead of naming it something else. So just want to pass those comments on. I have talked since I brought this to council several months ago, and because I got a letter from the mayor of Farmers Branch asking us to do this, and we had asked staff to do some research, and there's really been nothing done as far as the TxDOT is concerned, or the state legislature has done as far as doing any official renaming or anything. And I've been to several veteran services over the past several months and talked to dozens of veterans, and they have all had the same opinion, that they would much rather us use our time and resources towards something that truly does recognize and honor the veterans, in something that would state something that is recognizable, whether it be Veterans Freeway, whether it be Purple Heart Trail, which is already designated, but something that people can identify with, that we are directly honoring those veterans. And with that being said, we, last meeting, we talked about appointing our committee. We've already funded the money back at budget time. We approved unanimously the amount of money. I believe it was close to $200,000, wasn't it, staff? Close to $200,000 to do a study and survey of how to improve our facelift of the city as far as I-35 corridor goes. We're getting close to being a 100-year-old city, and we probably could use a good facelift. And as you know, I-35 has hundreds of thousands of people going up and down it every week, and we would like to try to improve that vision going through there. That's why we've established this committee, and we're getting ready to appoint those people to that and start that. I would personally like to see that committee has some input as to what we might do with either naming or not naming, and what type of focus we would want to bring to this city, and how we would use our resources to generate a theme or an idea. If it be something like that, Purple Heart Trail, maybe we put those resources to that, where we do not just the namings, but we also do some other things that would, I think, greatly be appreciated by not only our veterans, but by our citizens, that we are honoring our veterans here. So with that being said, Councilman Grena.
Thank you, Mayor. I do just want to make a couple of clarifications. Farmers Branch came up with the idea and the wording, or the name, and I think it's a noble idea. It is not just for veterans, it's for all people who are serving presently, in the past, and for the future, for the men and the women. It's to appreciate and respect. Let me use some wording that they use in their resolution. It's to appreciate and respect the men and women of our armed forces and their families who have sacrificed their blood, sweat, and tears to guarantee the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our prosperity, and a tribute to the men and women who are the guardians of our liberty each and every day, and to extend and reinforce the high esteem and appreciation and respect that we have for them. Now, it is a nickname. It doesn't change the address on Stemmons Freeway. And from what I understand, Farmers Branch and Carrollton have both, the City Council has both unanimously approved it. Farmers Branch did it in August, and Carrollton did it in September. And the reason I brought this up is to close this item. It's been on limbo. What they've done is they've put toppers on the streets that butt up into the frontage roads, and it's got the street name that you turn on, and then on the top of that it had Stemmons Liberty Freeway, Stemmons Freeway, like a red, white, and blue sign. And it's just a way for them to show the patriotism. Again, as I said, I thought it was a noble idea. Mayor Ukert and I both had our names on it when we introduced it to the council back in October. Is that correct? October? And it was tabled. I'd just like to have a final decision on this, whether we're going to let it go to the committee, or we can make a decision ourselves like our counterparts did in Carrollton and in Farmers Branch. Now, as far as the name goes, if that's the issue, I wish we came up with the idea, because I kind of agree that maybe a name would be better for it. But again, the concept was for all those who serve in our military, past and present and future. And another concept is to to encourage those businesses and homes along the frontage roads to display American flags and stuff. So, as I said, it was their concept. I thought it was a noble idea. They want to go all the way north from 635 up to Denton. And frankly, talking to some of our counterparts in those other cities, they're waiting on us. So that's why I brought it up, to see what we're going to do. We have two ways to go through this, and I'd like to hear comments from the rest of the councilmen, but...
Councilman Durham?
Well, hold on, I'm sorry, Mayor. I'm sorry. I would like to hear from the councilman, but I'd just like to say I'd like to see this go through. I think we as a council can make this decision. Again, I want to reiterate, it does not change the addresses. Purple Heart Highway is still the Purple Heart Highway, I-35. It doesn't change that at all. Thank you. Now, Mayor, sorry.
Councilman Durham, I'm sorry. I thought
that's all right, sir.
Wanted to hear.
It's all right.
I'd like to hear from Mr. Bueller. I think he might have something to say.
Come back up, Johnny.
Excuse me, Mayor, Your Honor, I'd like to just make one thing clear here on why I'm so strict on armed forces. I come from a military family. 6 brothers, myself, served in the armed forces, and during World War II, my mother and sister worked in the Chansport aircraft plant making aircrafts for the soldiers. I had 2 brothers in the Navy, 2 in the Army, 1 in the Army Air Corps, and 1 in the Marines. Out of the 6 of them, 3 of them came back with the Purple Hearts, but thank God they all came back. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny. Councilman Durham?
I've expressed this anyway in the past that I think we have plenty of names on it right now. I would like us to see how much money it would have cost to put the toppers on and use that money for the Purple Heart Trail for the signs along the highway. Hoping the highway department doesn't limit it to 1 per 100 miles, that we can get something more than that. One caveat to that is that we need to wait till the highway design is done for the widening of 35. There's no use doing something right now that's going to be torn out. It could be 5 or 6 years before anything could get done. But I would like to put that money out there anyway.
And that's, you're exactly right about the construction, and that's the reason we're appointing that committee to kind of do that in a timely manner to do that. Councilman Tierney?
Yes, Mayor. I agree in the fact that we're forming a committee, and one of the reasons why we're forming that committee is because of the overhaul that we have with I-35 coming up. They're going to be studying and analyzing all kinds of different issues as far as the highway goes, and I think it just makes sense if we were to do any type of naming or nicknaming of the highway, that we should give this committee an opportunity to take a look at it and review it. I do like the idea that Purple Heart Freeway has already been designated. You already see signs as you travel up and down I-35 that designates that. And, of course, we're going to let the committee sink their teeth into it and study it, and we'll seriously consider their recommendations when we get them. But right now, I kind of like the idea of that Purple Heart Freeway and carrying that theme throughout the city. But, of course, being open-minded to anything that the committee might come up with.
Councilman Thornhill?
Thank you, Mayor. I agree with most of what's been said tonight. I think throwing another name in the mix is just adding more to the confusion. This is Louisville. It's not Farmers Branch. I get tired of people trying to change our ways to follow them, and I disagree with this. I do not want to change the name. I want to keep it just like it is. Thank you.
Councilman Watts?
I just want to point out, especially for the 2 gentlemen who have already spoken, that even though there's some discussion about what to do or what name that we want to add, whether it's Liberty or Purple Heart or whatever it is, that if there's an issue to discuss up here, it's a pretty good one to have a conversation on exactly the best way to honor your service. Whatever the decision ends up being, I hope you know, and all the veterans here and up and down 35 and Farmers Branch and Carrollton or wherever, that's really what it's about, is trying to honor your service to the country. And for me personally, I know for a lot of Americans, when I hear the word liberty, I think veterans, because I know that's where it comes from. And I can't tell you how much that I appreciate it. I do agree with Councilman Durham that I wouldn't want to see us go out there and put up a bunch of signs that are going to have them get torn down anyway, as being a good steward of the citizens' money. If Farmers Branch and Carrollton want to do this, they can. They don't have to wait on us. I don't think that we have to have, the final say here tonight. I do agree we have a committee appointed to look into it, and, it's worth getting their input. But just so you know, whatever it turns out to be, it's to honor you, and we thank you. That's all I have.
Entertain a motion?
I would like to make the motion to go ahead and send it to committee. And just a final comment from me is I agree with Mr. Watt's sentiments to your service. Thank you very much, and to all the veterans that are in this room and that are watching. So I'd like to make a motion that we send it to committee, and thank you, council, for letting me bring this back so we can put a final decision on it.
In other words, you're saying to take no action at this time, just send it to committee?
Send it to the committee as the request, as suggested by staff. Yes, sir.
Okay. I have a motion to take no action this time and send it to committee as requested by staff.
Second.
Second by Councilman Tierney. Any further discussion?
One thing, Mayor, I just want to make sure that it's noted that I wanted to keep this, the Purple Heart Trail, Stemmons, and I-35E, that the Liberty is not in what I'm talking about. That sounded bad. But the name, the Liberty name, is not what I want to have in there. I do understand that.
I understand. I think I know what you mean. You didn't mean anything bad about the word liberty, anything like that. I'm sure you.
It'll depend on what happens tomorrow, I guess.
Right. But your preference is Purple Heart Trail.
Yes.
Okay.
So whatever the committee.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Gentlemen, I want to thank both of y'all for staying here tonight. I know this meant a lot to both of you, and I know it's late, but I want to thank you both for coming and for your service. And I want to thank all veterans out there for all the service that they've done for this community and for our country over the years. Thank you very much. Okay. Item 17 is consideration of a request for variances to Louisville City Code Section 2-201 fee schedule regarding the waiver of special event fees, Section 11-14, signs on public property, and request for in-kind support as requested by Rebecca Banky for the 2010 Cinco de Mayo event. Dallas Tortilla Factory and Tamale Factory owner Rebecca Banky intends to hold a public Cinco de Mayo event on Saturday, May 1 in Old Town, Louisville. She asked the city to waive all event permit fees, provide staff support for the event, approve closing Church Street for the event, and allow event signage in city right-of-ways. The City Council has approved these requests for this event in the past years. The City Council recommendation of staff is City Council consider the requested variances, requested road closure, and requested in-kind support related to the 2010 Cinco de Mayo event. I do have a card filled out by Rebecca Banky. If you'd like to come forward. If you'd give your name and address for the record, please, Rebecca.
Well, I think maybe some people here may know me as Rebecca Banky, Dallas Tortilla and Tamale Factory, 310 South Mill Street, Louisville, Texas, 75057. And I'm disappointed that Johnny left. I wanted to tell him that my grandfather had 2 Purple Hearts, a Silver Star, and a Bronze Star. So I support the veterans, too.
Did you have anything you wanted to say on this?
Well, I would like to encourage you guys to continue supporting Cinco de Mayo. And I'm here to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Okay. And I'm embarrassed to have to ask this, but I thought I had another card here for item 17 that someone had filled out. Did someone else fill out another card? No? Okay. All right. Councilman Watts?
My only question, which I asked in the workshop, was the cost that was associated with the different requests and how it compared to the other fees that we waived previous in the agenda for other events. If it's more or less, close, same.
Well, it's similar. Again, the cost of these things depends on the scope and scale of the event, time frames for the event, and the type of impacts that it has.
on staff. We've got a street closure in this case, which is different from some of the ones that you looked at earlier in the evening. We've got some police and fire personnel. One of the previous events only had fire personnel. So street closures can tend to impact things because we have to put up barricading with public services people. And so basically, this is kind of a worst-case scenario. If it turns out that things are moving very smoothly and the crowds are not Woodstock-type crowds or anything like that, then the police department has the discretion to move people around or take them off the job to meet the needs of the event. As it turns out, of course, that could also go the other way. If it is a Woodstock-type crowd, we could wind up with half the police force out here. So I don't think Rebecca's planning on that.
No, I mean, we would certainly love to have a huge attendance, and I think our 7th annual, we had a very good attendance, Councilman Watts, and Greg was there as well as Mayor Carey, and saw that we had a good, substantial crowd, but it was, it was a very easy crowd, and of course we kept all lanes open for fire and police. And my recommendation to staff was that we not close Church Street, because I didn't want to impact any type of other businesses in Old Town. But the police feel that we do need to close that with that main stage being there. And also because pedestrians may be crossing the street and we don't have a designated cross. So, we're following the recommendations of staff.
And really, the point of my question is we have, I think there's 3 on the agenda tonight where we've had requests for where. It really has nothing to do with your specific event, other than we have co-sponsored stuff like this in the past, and we, with revenue down, started looking for ways to save money, so we started trimming back what we were co-sponsoring, and it kind of defeats the purpose if we're not going to co-sponsor to save money, but then we're going to come and do it anyway. Why do we?
Well, the impact on the city is, a savings of, I think, roughly, Claude, is at almost $7,000. And for me, and if I had an opportunity to manipulate the budget a little bit more, I would say that we probably wouldn't need as much, in the way of parks. Esteban was concerned about, having enough personnel to close road closures. Typically with our event, it's not to the size yet where we're going to see what we see at Western Day, where people are going to just drive through barricades or move barricades, because we're still, a relatively small event, and we're still in its growing stages. It's a much different situation. With Western Day, you do have to have a lot of people manning barricades, but with our event, I feel, and I feel confident if we have volunteers to help assist us, the impact is going to be less on staff. And I understand that staff wants to lessen its impact and its stake in Cinco de Mayo, but the population in Old Town, and especially the Hispanic businesses, truly want the event, and they've come to me and said, look, we're willing to help, what can we do? To offset the cost, the loss of revenue that we've received from, the lack of sponsorship or the lessening of the sponsorship. But we certainly need the sponsorship of the city of Louisville, especially in this, because it helps us save money so that we can, have a stage, so that we can have music, so we can have different type of entertainment. It's really a must, and it's, 25% of the population really wants to see the event happen. So I'm here to make, to work with you guys, but also to work with the Hispanic community and make it happen.
Right, I understand that. Like I said, my point is more about the general policy perspective,
I understand exactly what you're
on
saying.
waiver of fees for any events. The other folks that were here earlier tonight, if we had denied, waiving their fees, it wouldn't be because we don't like the Relay for Life, or that we don't like the
Leela.
I'm sorry.
Leela.
Yeah. It's just, at some point, I want to support every charity. I want to support every event, but there's cost involved to the city. That's why the city went to picking one major event to do, and that's why it's Western Day. So it's really not, I guess the point that I'm raising is really a more broad point, maybe for staff to consider, and maybe for council to consider a policy on fee waivers, because I want all of these things to succeed.
Well, yeah, it will make our community is very diverse, and the more events that we have, it makes it a much more interesting and fun place to live.
True. and I understand, that it helps the event, if the city waives stuff or if the city co-sponsors or whatever. Just the revenue situation that we're in the cities, we're always trying to find ways to save money, especially in this economy, and be as good as stewards as we can. And the businesses that have come to you to say, what can we do to help? They need to kick in, if they want to see an event succeed.
And they are. We do have a sponsorship, and we also have local businesses that are, walking the streets to get people, help volunteer, to help get the word out, to donate what they can.
Right.
But the fact remains is that, we're down from 11,000 to, I think, 3,700. And, it's a substantial drop in support.
Sure, I understand. That's all. That was,
do you have anything? Okay. Councilman Grana?
Thank you, Mayor. I was really pleased to hear that the businesses came together to want to get this event going. I've had a few people call me and tell me that they want it over here. And when I spoke to you at the time, you didn't want to have the street closed, but I understand that it is actually the police department suggesting that,
Yes.
which is incurring some of the costs too.
Yes.
I'm all for giving you the variances for your event. I really appreciate the businesses coming together to have the event. But likewise, I'm also concerned about, now the decision to not fund the event was before my time, but out of respect to that, I understand what they're talking about. Is there anything that you can possibly raise more to help pay for officers or anything? Look, I'm for you getting the fees waived and everything. You have my approval of that. I'm just trying to see if we can do something to bring that, what'd you say, it was $3,700?
I believe so.
Down a little bit more. And maybe next year you'll fund 100% of it, or you're...
Yes, we have in years past. Last year was actually the largest sponsorship by the city of Louisville. Prior to that, we had sponsorship from Miller of Denton, they sponsored us entirely, and we had staff assistance. And I understand, that Jennifer's going away on a vacation or her anniversary that weekend, and, I certainly understand that, and I understand people have, the events on the weekend, and it does impact staff, and I completely understand that.
Well, I like the fact that the businesses came together
Right.
and did it on their own and got it, so that I approve. I do. Not quite sure who's going to make the motion or how they're going to word it, but at least you know where I stand. I'm behind you on that. Thank you.
Councilman Durham?
A follow-up to what Councilman Watts said. I assume we're talking about possibly next year might even be worse than this year. And it probably, not just your group, but all the groups that come in, it may get tighter. Hope it doesn't, but it might get tighter on the money. Because I'd love to sponsor all these if we could, and do the in-kind stuff too. And I think we all would like to do that if we could. But there will be a point out there, if things keep going the way they are right now on the general economy, that we're all going to be in trouble. And hopefully we can keep some of these things in to survive, and then fund them in the future. But I'm going to be in support of this tonight.
Thank you, Rudy. I really appreciate that.
Sure. Councilman Tierney?
Yes. First off, good job to you, Rebecca, for fighting through this and keeping attempting to keep this event alive, and getting the business people and the support that you have. I'm in support of the variances, and just point of clarification that the funding was removed for this event last budget year, which was the current council that we have up here now. So having said that, I'm in favor of it, and good luck.
Thank you.
Councilman Barnhill?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm in support of this. Like Rudy said, next year it'll be a little differently maybe. But looking at the request that's coming before us, most of this is in kind. It's not monetary funds being handed over. Those look like to be in fee permits and what have you, but most of it's police personnel, fire personnel, et cetera, in-kind support. So I'm okay with it. and we'll just hopefully have a better year next year. So I'll be supporting it.
Motion.
Make a motion to go ahead and support this request.
I have a motion to approve the request as presented by Councilman Thornhill, a second by Councilman Tierney. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I'm sorry, just one
Go ahead.
point about the in-kind donation of the police time. The police still get paid. I mean, that still does, we still have to pay them, even though it's not money we're handing you. It's money that gets.
Oh, yes,
For all the personnel.
Latham, I want to let you know that the city has never given me $1 that actually touched my hands, but just, I submitted a receipt. So I want to make that perfectly clear, because that's very important for people to understand that.
Sure.
That
That was my only.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen. We certainly appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Item 18 is consideration of declaring a vacancy in place number 7 on the Park Board and consideration of an appointment to fill the vacancy on the Park Board. In accordance with the City Council's attendance policy, Patrick Booth has missed 3 consecutive meetings during the month of December, January, and March, and there was no scheduled meeting in February of the Park Board, and is automatically removed from membership on this committee. The recommendation is that Council consider declaring a vacancy on place number 7 on the Park Board and consider an appointment to fill the vacancy. Councilman Thornhill?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank everybody who's applied for this. We certainly appreciate everybody's time that makes time to help the city and participate and learn how things work. As I've mentioned in workshop, I really would like to consider the people that were interviewed and versus the people that were not interviewed, kind of help shorten the list a little bit. And then I went through the list of the people that were interviewed. It looks like I'll be making this recommendation, I guess, is Michael Pope. He's been with us for 14 years in the city. He's retired. I think he can make the meetings. I think he's been around long enough that he can contribute to the Park Board. And I think the Park Board probably will support him too. So I'll make that nomination.
You want to make a motion and declare a vacancy, and then that?
Okay, at that point, then I'll go ahead and make a motion that we declare a vacancy in place 7, and then we consider an appointment to fill the vacancy for place 7.
With who?
With Michael Pope?
With Mike Pope, yes.
Second.
Michael Pope.
Okay, we have a motion, thank you. A motion that we declare a vacancy for Park Board place number 7 and fill that vacancy with Michael Pope. And do we have a second?
Yep.
Second by Councilman Tierney. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor?
Yes.
I would like to thank Mr. Booth for his service on the board, and if something comes up in the future and he wants to serve again, to contact us.
Agreed. We like that, as you both said, you and Councilman Thornhill both, we want to thank everyone that does serve on the board, including Mr. Booth, for his patronage for the city over the years. Okay, down to reports. Nika. Bob, park going well out there, sir? You're sure making us proud out there, I got to say. You keep going, you're going to be up with the fire and police departments, aren't you? I'm sorry, Bob. I shouldn't have said that. Park Department does a wonderful job. They're striving to keep up with you. Hey, it's true. Chief, you got anything? Linda. I like that new hairdo, ma'am. Chief, nothing? We appreciate you filling in for Mr. Cover on that. You did a wonderful job, by the way, sir. How's the lake doing?
Well, as of the last 2 days, it's increased.
Increased, huh?
About half a foot over conservation.
I actually got to go fishing out the other day, and we caught some fish, so it's doing pretty good. Donna? Brenda? Mr. Ferry? Mr. Backus? No?
Nothing, Mayor.
Councilman Watt? Oh, excuse me, I mean Green.
That's right, sir. Nothing, Mayor.
Councilman Watt? City Manager?
No, sir.
Councilman Tierney?
No, sir.
Council Thornhill?
You'll have a good golf game this weekend. I won't be there.
Hey, you got a mean pitching wedge, though. You can put it in from 100 yards out, right on the stick. Counselor? Pat?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to remind everyone that early voting begins on April 26th and will continue until April 30th from 8 to 5 each day, and then again on May 3rd and 4th from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., with Election Day being May 8th.
Okay. And Pat, I want to thank you for stepping in tonight. You did a wonderful job. Thank you, ma'am. In accordance with Texas Government Code Subchapter D, Section 551.072, Property Acquisition, and Section 551.087, Deliberation regarding Economic Development Negotiations, we convene into executive session. So many cards. Most cards I ever had.
Excuse me?
You were on council.
I just didn't realize it.
Yeah. Calls back into session. Is there any action to be taken?
Nope, move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn by Councilman Tierney, a second by Councilman Watts. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.